Welcome, welcome everybody, welcome. We are so excited for today and to see all of your beautiful faces. Please know that if you need hot drinks, there are hot drinks over there. We're making coffee, there are snacks. We know you're skipping your lunch hour on this beautiful Saturday to be here with us. So we really, really appreciate it. We know that we are more powerful together, and we have so many leaders and members of the community here, and really at this point we're all leading. So rain is like the easiest thing we've all ever dealt with. We can rock this, no problem. So I just wanted to get that housekeeping out of the way. Please sign up to get information from Transgender Michigan and the Lansing Association for Human Rights. I have ponchos, so please let us know any of your needs. We want to take care of your needs. My name is Emily Devendorf. I'm with the Lansing Association for Human Rights. And I am just going to be moving us through the program today, but I think we all know this is Rachel's day. Yeah. It is literally Rachel's day. So I'm going to introduce Raquelle Trammell, the Executive Director of Transgender, or one of the co-founders of Transgender Michigan, but also the founder of Transgender Day of Visibility, which is now an international day to celebrate the transgender community. So we appreciate and love Rachel so much and are thrilled to have her here. So Rachel, you take away your part.
Okay, hello there! I'm so happy that everyone is here in this wonderful weather. Yay for the weather. Well, nah. 10 years ago, I had an idea. And that was, why can't there be a day that we could be proud of what we are? Why can't there be a day that people from all over the world can come together? Why can't there be a day to celebrate the living? Woo! 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 And so I created the International Transgender Day of Visibility. And honestly, I can't believe I'm the one who started it. It's even in Uganda now. It's even in Kuwait. It's even in places where it's not legal to be trans. However, it's there all the same. I'd like to introduce our Lieutenant Governor. Hi. I really admire you. Yes. I don't know what else to say. I really admire you, sir. And here he is, Garlin Gilchrist.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon. Is it morning, afternoon? I don't even know. Good afternoon. I am Lieutenant Governor Garlin Gilchrist, and I am proud to be here representing the Whitmer-Gilchrist administration as we stand in support and solidarity of the transgender community in the state of Michigan. And everyone who even thinks about the state of Michigan should know that this is a state where we not only welcome all of humanity in its totality and its beauty and its breadth and its diversity, but we will work hard every day to ensure that the state of Michigan is both welcoming and a place where all of us can thrive. I want to commend Rachel for being such an international leader. See, it makes me proud that in the state of Michigan, one person can declare a day that everyone around the world now respects, recognizes, and celebrates. It's exactly this kind of thinking, this kind of leadership, this kind of innovation that introduces new things to the world that are better and different and more valuable to more people, welcoming and recognizing the possibility and imagination of every individual, and knowing that that humanity must be celebrated regardless of its expression. Our administration is committed to making life better for everyone in the state of Michigan, and that includes the trans community. And one of the ways that we've demonstrated that is on I believe, our 5th day in office. We signed an executive directive. We went and celebrated at Affirmations in Royal Oak. And we signed an executive directive that removed the barriers and eliminated the discrimination against the entire LGBTQ community that had been merited out by state government. We also called on the legislator and empowered the Michigan Civil Rights Commission to do its part, to both of those bodies to do their part, to extend civil rights protections through Michigan's Elliott-Larsen Act to protect members of the LGBT community. And we will continue to fight for those principles every day that we're in office. You see, actions and words, and that's an important expression of solidarity. Presence is an important expression of solidarity, and that's why I got up from Detroit to come here this morning to be here at this event. But we also want to meet that with deeds, and we're going to work hard to ensure that we can do everything in policy and practice possible to make sure that everyone in Michigan knows that Michigan is their home. Now, last but certainly not least, I brought a little bit of hardware here for Rachel. Rachel, can you join me?
Oh, yeah.
So I want to present you with this special tribute proclamation from Governor Whitmer and I that recognizes your international leadership, the importance that you have not only to the trans community, not only to the LGBT community, but to the entire community of the great state of Michigan, recognizing you for your leadership, for establishing the Transgender Day of Visibility, for your love of life and the love of the celebration of life of everyone in this community and all communities really throughout the world. And we want you to know that we recognize you, we thank you for your leadership, and we are proud to support you and stand with you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Wow. Congratulations, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist. My name is Amy Hunter. I am a longtime Michigan resident, longtime activist here in the state of Michigan. I've been on a brief hiatus working for the ACLU National, rolling out a national transgender advocacy program. And so I'm extraordinarily happy to be back here today and to have been invited to speak. So my specialty is the politics around transgender equality and the quality of everyday lived life. And when I think about visibility, I think about where we came from many, many years ago. When I first came out, it was quite literally taking my life into my own hands to be in public as my authentic self. Today, there are still many, many people that is still the case. That has to change. But we are at a new place today as a community. We are at a place where how we identify as a community is changing rapidly. Those who are under the umbrella of being trans is burgeoning at a tremendous rate. And we need to think about a new vision for what visibility means like. Visibility means that we are visible to our legislators, we are visible to our community leaders, we are visible to our media, we are visible to our children, we are visible to our parents, we are visible to society in general, And we are unapologetic and proud to be who we are. Yes, absolutely. I, for one, made a decision when I first came out. I had, it's not so savvy to talk about today, but I had cis passing privilege when I first came out. And when I looked around and I thought about how easy it was for me to transition by comparison, I made an instantaneous choice that I was not going to fade into the woodwork. Never, ever deny my transness, because it was through my transness that I had power. It was through my transness and proudly proclaiming that transness that I stood the best chance of helping other people. And we're seeing it happen. In our political climate today, we may not have the big wins on the horizon, the large statewide non-discrimination protections, although they are still happening. I'm happy to say I played a role in New Hampshire, who just passed them last year. But we are having tremendous success at the not quite so public level. Identity markers that match our real selves, the key to living authentically, changing of our birth certificates without a burden of a surgical requirement or an undue cost. These are the fundamental building blocks of what it takes to be truly visible as a member of our society. And I don't know about you, but I want nothing more than to be a productive member of my society. I want to give back to my society. I want to partner with those in my society who not just are like me, but those too who suffer and struggle with being their authentic selves. Whether or not they are transgender doesn't matter. We all have something deep within us that we crave to be able to live authentically about. And the transgender movement, the movement of the transgender community, is part of what makes that possible for all of us. So please, never ever apologize for who you are. Stand up proudly. Be tall in your transness. Be diverse in your identity. Be loving to those who are not like you, and understand that their authenticness is what makes our society such a wonderful place to live. You are a key part of it. Together, in our lifetimes, we can see true equality lived under the law and within society. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
How does it feel to have an administration that supports us? Right? A little wonderfully surreal, I think, after everything that everybody's gone through. Thank you, of course, to our Lieutenant Governor, Garlin Gilchrist, who did have to go and attend to other things, but came all the way here. And thank you, Amy Hunter, for the political update and just reminding us of the hope that there is. I want to introduce now a representative from Mayor Schor's office, Matthew, who is here to deliver a proclamation, present a proclamation. So I'm pretty sure we might need Rachel again, because we're not done honoring her or the day.
Oy vey!
Hi, so I am not going to be able to compete with any of the other speakers up here, but I'm honored to be here and to be able to read off this proclamation. I'd just like to say that our office We're doing our best to lead LGBTQ outreach efforts, something that has never been done with the city of Lansing before. And it's very exciting right now because across the country there's municipalities everywhere that are trying to do this. And it's exciting, and we hope that Lansing could be on the forefront of this. So if you have any input or anything, please feel free to reach out to our office and come to us with any input. We're happy to hear it. So that being said, I'm just going to read this proclamation and read the proclamation. On behalf of the City of Lansing, it's a pleasure to join Lansing residents and community partners in celebrating International Transgender Day of Visibility. It is especially an honor to work with our vibrant LGBT community to further strengthen and celebrate our diversity. Countless LGBTQ individuals and communities have withstood blatant discrimination and violence throughout their lives. Through the selfless leadership of individuals like Marsha P. Johnson and Harvey Milk, we have begun to confront the ignorance and intolerance that has bred this bigotry. Upon the 10th anniversary of the annual event, I extend my deepest respects to Ms. Raquelle Crandall-Crocker of Transgender Michigan for founding this celebration. I am immensely proud such a vital step forward was established by a Michigan resident, and I am continually proud to support Lansing's transgender community. Now therefore, I, Andy Schor, Mayor of the City of Lansing, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2019 as Transgender Day of Visibility.
Thank you.
We are so thankful that Lansing has an LGBT liaison. Thank you, Matthew, for your time today and for your advocacy. We look forward to working with you. We have a whole list of demands. I'm especially proud to introduce the next speakers. I recently stepped down from being president of the Lansing Association for Human Rights, and in order to be able to just manage my life. And these two are making that really easy. So the new president of the Lansing Association for Human Rights and our new vice president, Zekiye Salman and Erica Spitzfaden, would like to say some words. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out today. I know it's cold, I'm cold, but there's nowhere else I would rather be, and I'm so glad to have all of you here with us today. My name is Zekiye Salman, and I am the president of the Lansing Association for Human Rights. If you're unfamiliar with LAR, we are one of the oldest LGBTQIA advocacy groups in Greater Lansing, and we pursue justice and equality for LGBTQIA people through community-led advocacy, education, and connection. Before I started, I wanted to thank Raquelle Crandall-Crocker for organizing and co-founding Transgender Day of Visibility. It is such an honor to support the work of this amazing person. I'd also like to thank Sarah Thalen and Jana Rowan for dedicating their time today to helping us make this event more accessible. So in honor and celebration of today, I wanted to share one of the initiatives that LAR is working on to not just promote visibility, but inclusivity of transgender folks in our community, and an inspiring example of what allyship can look like. So if you're walking around downtown this afternoon, you will see signs in the window of local businesses that read gender-neutral bathrooms here. LAR has been working one-on-one with business owners to encourage them to change gendered single-stall bathroom signs to a gender-neutral alternative. Many of these businesses have enthusiastically come on as allies, agreeing to support the trans community not only today, but permanently. And LAR will be sponsoring the purchase and installation of permanent bathroom signs for Lansing-based business allies to help make Lansing more inclusive and visibly welcoming to the trans community. This is such a great example of the change community partnerships, coalition building, and dialogue can inspire, and one example of how small demonstrations of support for the trans community can have a profound impact on the entire community. But you do not need to own a business to be an ally, and you do not need to own a business to stand up for trans rights. Transgender Day of Visibility is not only about trans people becoming more visible. especially considering the risk visibility often poses for trans folks and particularly trans women of color. And Trans Day of Visibility is not only about increasing the visibility of trans issues, concerns, and oppression. Many of us here are very familiar with the struggles of the trans community, and many of us here live those struggles daily. Trans Day of Visibility is also a celebration of trans folks. Yes, we need allies to advocate for trans people, and we need these allies to openly celebrate trans existence. Genuine and effective allyship requires both. Thank you all for joining us in celebration of the trans community, and thank you to those who live Transgender Day of Visibility every day. We are so honored to be celebrating you.
Hello, I'm Erica Spitzfaden, the Vice President of LARB. I also want to thank Raquelle Trammell for organizing this event. It is amazing, and I'm just really excited to be here. I also want to thank Zekiye, Emily, and everyone else that's on board with LAR. It's really an amazing organization to work with. Obviously, we're doing some great things, and I love it. For me, Transgender Day of Visibility is a little more personal. I remember growing up in the 70s, Renee Richards, she was the former tennis professional. In 1976, the USTA challenged her right to compete as a woman. Ultimately, she won, but I remember how horribly treated she was by the press and the general community. And then that was it. That was really the only example I had of a transgender person. So I felt kind of lost. I actually didn't really understand who I was, where I was. Decades later, I saw a video of Lana Wachowski. She was one of the directors of The Matrix. And I remember it was an acceptance speech that she gave for the Human Rights Campaign. It was amazing. You know, finally there was somebody saying things that I'd been feeling for years and didn't have the words for. And you know, the most exciting part was that she existed. This was a person who was out there living her life and doing her job. Sorry. But you know, so for me, my first Transgender Day of Visibility was a work day, and I went to work just like any other professional woman would. And it was amazing. You know, just to be out in the world, to exist for a change. And so, you know, for me, Transgender Day of Visibility, it's important because that way we know we're not alone. Thank you.
I'm thrilled to announce our next speaker, in part because great work is being done by them regardless, but also because they started they are essential leaders, and I believe co-founders. Yeah? Trans Women of Color? Trans Sisters of Color?
Oh, yeah.
Fact checking. Of a very, very important organization that advocates for people of color and trans women of color in particular. Now, one thing we don't recognize enough is that our entire movement, not just the trans movement, our entire movement was founded by two trans women of color. Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson set the stage for us to be working for decades to make important, radical, necessary change. So I am honored to introduce Jeynce Poindexter of the Trans Sisters of Color Project, an organization that is now celebrated across the country for the work that they're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Like the beautiful young lady just said, I am Jeynce Poindexter. So I'm the transgender specialist / victim advocate for Equality Michigan and also Trans Sisters of Color Project. I also am a board member of Michigan Women's March. Thank you. Before I go on today, I don't want to offend anyone, but I want to call into question what is the foundation of my life, and I have to acknowledge the presence of the Lord who has given me life itself. So I want to take this time to say thank you, God, for this moment, for this day, for this breath of life, and for this connecting and gathering that we all are sharing at this moment. I want to say thank you for Raquelle Trammell for organizing this. It really takes a groundbreaking person to have a vision, and then to also put that vision into action takes more character and more discipline than anyone could ever imagine. So thank you so much, Raquelle, for your countless work on behalf of the entire LGBT community. So in my day-to-day travels, I travel throughout the country and mainly throughout the state of Michigan, rendering resources to LGBT community members that are being discriminated against, that are being victimized, that are experiencing any level of harm or danger. And I get to interact with these people and understand what it's like to go through. And it's a lot sometimes, but I also take it as an honor because there's not many people out here that are being intentional about our well-being. And so I'm very grateful for that responsibility that I have. The importance of being visible is so that the society and the world does not continue to keep us as the other. As long as they keep us as the other, they will be able to continue to discriminate against us. They will be able to continue to carry out acts of violence upon us. We have to be able to connect and make ourselves real, and make ourselves the neighbor, and make ourselves the business owner, and make ourselves a person who cares about their children and about the neighborhood that they live in. We have to make ourselves real, we have to make ourselves vulnerable, and we have to connect so that we can establish ourselves as citizens of this world. Yes? Okay, well, turn around and let's have your moment. You certainly can. What's your name?
Nathan.
I would like to introduce Nathan.
Hi. I would publicly like to apologize to everybody I've hurt. I did not know that was going to go online. I don't know who put it online. I don't know who talked about it in public, but I understand that what I said in my apartment, somebody put it online. I don't know. It hurt a lot of people. And I ask you for your forgiveness. And I did something bad, and I ask God for his forgiveness and stuff. I really do.
Okay. And he will forgive you, and thank you for expressing that to us.
Anyways, I do not know who put that online. I mean, there's two rules. Stuff that you keep in your home, you stays in your home. You don't talk about it in public. And you don't put that stuff online. I mean, it caused whoever put it online, it caused a lot of damage, and it hurt you, it hurt me, and I don't know who put it online. I really don't.
That's okay. We can connect you with someone who can help you navigate through those feelings and those emotions. So if you hang over to the side, I'll connect with you as soon as I leave here, and I'll get you to some resources to help you navigate that. I also want to speak about the importance of visibility. Obviously, that was the time that was picked, that was carved out for him to express that. So I wanted him to be able to express that so that we all understand the importance of everyone. It was not for me to silence him. It was not for me to tell him to go away. It was for me to give him his moment, just as someone has given me my moment. So let's all just appreciate that for what it is. Now, I wanted to touch on a couple other things. So, as you can see, I obviously am a proud trans woman of color. And I need you all to really, truly understand what that's like and what it feels like to navigate that through every day. We experience a lot of harm. We experience a lot of violence and danger on a daily basis, oftentimes within our own family, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. But we all know that those statistics are higher for people of color and particularly trans women of color. So at this time, that we can all identify and say is such a crucial time in the life and the survival of the trans woman of color, we need everyone to be very intentional about connecting and about supporting the work that we're doing and connecting with us. Every other week, we're experiencing a death where someone has just taken the life of a black trans woman just because they're a black trans woman. And if we all can call into action the ways and our leaders of this world, then we certainly can call ourselves into action. What do you do to stand with the black trans woman? What do you do to support the work of a black trans woman-led agency? What do you do to connect in times of trauma and loss that is physical, that is palpable, that someone can see and relate to, instead of the sorry sentiments that are often shared? We get that there's a sorrow and that there's a connecting ability on that trauma, but now we need you to help us survive. Now we need you to help us step out and step up and call into action about the violence and the murder that we face. So I come here in the sense of joy, I come here in the sense of unity, but I have to carry that piece wherever I go, because obviously I'm a black trans woman, and I have to be able to bring that into the space as well as the needs of the LGBT community as a whole. Action steps. Like I said, how will you be intentional about connecting? How will you be intentional about uplifting the work of the trans population? How will you help save a life of a trans woman or a trans woman of color or a trans man? How will you connect to the non-conforming population that we have that is often sometimes looked over because, again, that inner community bias, those inner community things that we can't seem to work over or through, that we have to start having the real difficult conversations about what the level of quality of life looks for everyone, okay? So I appreciate this time. I value us all gathering here together. I definitely want you to leave away from here understanding what intentional action looks like, understanding your part that you play in this movement. Separate from all of us, what will you do yourself to step up that quality of life for LGBT community members, particularly trans people?
Thank you, Jeynce, for your big heart. Thank you, Nathan, for your big heart. How many of us wished we had the courage to walk up to a microphone and ask for forgiveness? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I want to see hands in the air from everybody committing to working with and for the safety and equality of trans women of color. I want to see all hands in the air. Okay? Well, you know who to talk to. And some steps to follow. So you have started. And of course, it's a commitment is more than a hand in the air. So let's see some action from all of us. Love it. This next speaker, old friend, hadn't seen her in too long. I am proud to introduce the head of the Gender Identity Network Alliance. We may know her more for heading up GINA, depending on how we talk about it. Michelle Fox. Michelle, please come on up.
Wow, what a day. Cold, wet. Thank you all for coming out here. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge our allies that need to be here. PFLAG International. I co-founded with my late wife Gender Identity Network Alliance. I am currently on 2 boards of PFLAG Clinton Township and PFLAG Detroit. We also collaborated with Trans Sisters of Color, a project that came out of the ACLU court against the Secretary of State in regards to gender marker. So Trans Sisters of Color, Affirmations, GNA, ACLU got together, we formed a coalition, we raised money, and we are paying for a passport card. Thank you, Secretary Hillary Clinton. You can take that passport card and get your gender identity changed on your license or state ID. It's 19 years ago in April that I came out of the closet. Prior to that, it was Michelle for 30 years. A lot has changed, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done for the trans and the gender nonconforming family. There's a lot of work. There's bathroom bills. We need to advocate for everybody in the trans and gender nonconforming individuals, but for all people that are oppressed around this country, around the world. We need to take care of ourselves. We have a lot of work to do in this country. There's bathroom bills that are coming up left and right, and it's dangerous for our community. We also need to be visible. I've been advocating visibility for 19 years, and now, thank you, Rachel, it's coming to fruition. Rachel and I have been around for 20 years, if not longer, and she has done a tremendous amount of work advocating for the trans community and the gender nonconforming community, but we are here today. Thank you, Rachel. Absolutely. This lady is a sweetheart. She has gone through a lot, as we all have gone through a lot. But the more visible we are, the more accepting we will be. We need to be visible. We need to talk to people. We need to let people know, yes, I am transgender. I am a trans woman. And it doesn't matter where on the spectrum of the transgender community you might be. We are all together, allies, gender nonconforming, and the transgender community. I'm glad to hear that Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson were here. But one other event happened before Stonewall, and that was in, I think, San Francisco. The Compton's Cafeteria. That happened, and that was the beginning of the trans community, and a lot has happened out in San Francisco. Now we need to move it here in Michigan. We need to contact our legislatures, even talk to the Republicans. Let them know that we are human, that all we want to do is be treated as individuals just like they are. We need to convince them. Democrats, a lot of them are on our side, but it's the Republican Party and it's the religious right. I know the religious right we're not going to get very far with, but with going to town hall meetings of your representatives, of your senators, talking to them, bring the subject up to pass the Elliott-Larsen Act to include sexual orientation and gender identity expression. This is important. I am so tired of being discriminated against, as I'm sure everybody here is. I am going to close and say thank you for everyone for being here today, being cold, being frozen. This shows your support for our community. And I would like to say, Nathan, I don't know if you're still here, thank you for being here, having the courage to apologize for whatever transgression that Nathan may have committed. So I would like to end this with a round of applause for all of you for being here.
I don't know that this Capitol building has ever had this many leaders from the transgender and gender nonconforming community. But this may be the first, but this is not going to be the last time this many leaders' voices are heard. Next, from Transgender Detroit, we have Samantha Rogers.
Hi. I don't know about you, but I'm freezing. Thank you all for coming out. My name's Samantha Rogers, and I head up a little group called TG Detroit. We throw little parties called Detroit Invasions for transgender women who come in from all over the country. First, I want to thank Rachel like everybody else. I want to thank her. I want to thank her not just for creating this day, but I want to thank her for standing as a beacon to so many of us over so many years. I want to thank her. I mean, I believe Rachel may have been the third person in the world to hear me say the words, "I am transgender." When I was at my very lowest moment, I reached out to Rachel and she was there. So Rachel, thank you. Thank you, not just from me, but from everybody that you have helped, for everybody that you have inspired, and for this day of visibility. When you think about it, that's what visibility really is, isn't it? Facing your fears, stepping out into the light, facing that overwhelming fear of rejection. I've heard battle-hardened veterans tell me that they would be more afraid of coming out as transgender than going under enemy fire in battle. And I believe that. But I also believe that fear has to be faced or it cripples us. Think about that word. Think about visibility. All of us, not just transgender, everyone, all human beings need to be seen. We need to know that we exist, that we have value. It's a basic human need. And more than that, it's a basic human right. The right to be seen. Nobody can take that away from us. And yet, transgender people forever have been denied that right. We have been falsely shamed into invisibility, into the dark recesses of deep closets, never to see the light of day. And that's the real shame. It's not our shame. It's the shame of a world, a society that does not value each of us the same, that does not see us as human. And yet, it's our shame as well, because we allowed it to happen. We internalized that false shame. We believed it. It's a lie, but we believed it. And we embraced it as fact because we were afraid. And that has to change. Let me ask you some things. Is it our right to exist? Yeah? I think it is. Is it our right to live? Of course it is. Is it our right to be seen? Trans rights are human rights. There are no others in America. Visibility is our right. I see you. I see each and every one of you. I see your fears. I see your struggles. I see your pain. But I also see I see your hearts. I see your courage and your bravery, and I look in your eyes and I see the trembling, fragile beauty in every single one of you. I see you. You know, people are often afraid of the unfamiliar, and fear sometimes becomes hate. Well, familiarity brings understanding and sometimes acts to mitigate those fears and that hatred. The more mainstream America sees us, the more they see us existing publicly, free of shame, the more things change. After all, the root of the word familiar is family. But visibility is also a tool in helping others, helping all of our yet unseen friends to find the courage to face their own fears. Visibility is an inspiration, showing that fear may be faced and survived daily. It's the very example so many people need to face their own fears. Rachel inspired me. Her inspiration helped me, and it inspired me to give back. The events that my group hosts, they bring hundreds of us, hundreds of girls from all over the country, into the face of mainstream America, where they can't ignore us. At every event, we take large groups of transgender into the very face of mainstream America, and mainstream America sees us. And they do not see shame. What they see is the beautiful truth that we represent. Gender is not a binary. It is a spectrum. It covers the entire breadth of humanity, all of us. And when they see that, they begin to learn. And a little bit at a time, we move the ball down the field for the next generation. Courage inspires courage. Just as Rachel was a beacon for me and so many others, each and every girl that goes to one of those events, each and every girl, each and every one of you that steps out of the door, showing yourself as you really are, serves as a beacon to more. You know, it's the greatest irony to me. Visibility itself is our greatest tool in fighting for the right to be visible. So just do it. Stand up. Be seen. Stand beside those who are stepping out. Stand beside those who are stepping in. Stand up. Be visible. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, again. I'd like to introduce a person who is at least partially responsible for me doing everything I did. Years ago, she created an organization called Crossroads. There might not be a visibility day if it wasn't for her. And here is my dear friend, Grace Bacon.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. It takes a lot of courage to come out here and enjoy Michigan's liquid sunshine. Thank you all for coming. Rachel, again, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. Yes, Crossroads is the pioneer, or was the pioneer, transgender organization within the state of Michigan. And it did its job. It found people and it planted seeds. It planted seeds that grew up to be Rachel, Michelle Fox-Phillips, Samantha Rogers, and you've all heard from them today. I'm very proud that I've kind of been a mentor, by proxy maybe, to these people. I'm also very proud to talk to you today. We've come a long way, we've won a few battles, and we have a long way to go. And this is just the start. We have a Speaker of the House here in Michigan who said he will not support anything that hurts anybody's religious freedom. And by saying so, I'm going to challenge him to tell me how our freedom to be ourselves is going to hurt any of his religious principles. As far as I'm concerned, his religious freedom ends where my human rights begin. And I'll stand by that, anytime, any place, anywhere. We have many outstanding individuals in our community nowadays, and this is something I'd never dreamed of 40 years ago when I put Crossroads together. We have people like Laverne Cox, Caitlyn Jenner, many others who are becoming known. Laverne Cox has come out and said that it takes a very brave person to come out as transgender in today's world, to come out, be seen in public, and be heard. She's right. It does take a brave person, and I commend each and every one of you today for coming out and being here. Thank you. We've won some of the minor battles along the way. We do have over 50% of the public now who agrees that we do have a place in this society and that we do belong here. We have won the battle of same-sex marriage. We have won the science battle. People now believe that our transgender desires, I shouldn't even say desires, but the fact that we are women or men deep down inside before we were born, and sometimes that gender does not agree with the equipment we're born with. We've won those two battles, the science battle and the public opinion battle. But I feel very sad that we may have lost the war. And that war is the one person who sits in the Supreme Court of the United States today, a whiny, crybaby frat boy who is going to block everything that comes in front of him with anything to do with transgender rights. What we do here in Michigan, what we do in the U.S. House of Representatives can probably go no further than there. Any of our rights are subject to court battles in the U.S. District and Circuit Courts and in the U.S. Court of Appeals, and that can go to the excuse me, that can go to the Supreme Court very quickly, as we've seen, and it ends there. This man is going to have an influence on our rights for the next 30 to 40 years. I'm not going to see the end of this. Many of you out here won't see the end of it. He may have some influence beyond his tenure in the court. That's sad, but true, I'm sorry to say. Like I said, anything we do can be overridden in the federal courts. And I feel very sad for these young people that are coming up the line to have a dark future and perhaps a taste of what we went through years and years ago. There is one way that we can help. We can find friends in our neighborhood. I'm not talking just transgender friends. I'm talking any friend in the LGBT community, whether gay guys, lesbians, bisexual people. Find somebody close by. Find friends. Go over to their houses, maybe 5, 6, 10 people. Go over there maybe once a month, play cards, watch a movie, just hang out, be with friends. This may be the only way we'll be able to see ourselves, to be ourselves in the next few years. The next couple years may tell us, depending on the election in 2020, if we do have more people who are friendly to us elected to the courts, then we have a chance. But until then, in the next 2 years, and if the people who are in office now get reelected, then we have a problem. We have a serious problem. I'm saying that these little neighborhood groups later on, if we do have this problem, things get very dark, very destitute for us. We have to go mildly underground, to use our little neighborhood groups to be the places where we can be ourselves. Don't take your phone, don't take your car, walk there. Your phone and your car can be traced. I know it doesn't sound good, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings, but I'm afraid I am. The thing we have to do is to vote these people out in 2020. It's our only hope. Meanwhile, we're here, we're queer, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Grace is a force. Grace wants us to organize. Grace wants political change. Are we ready for that? Okay, I'm gonna go home, set all my clothes on fire, and just stand next to it. But I'm making it through this program, and you are too. Woo! Resilience is our strong suit. The next speaker is a reverend. Charles Blanchard is a priest at Christ the Good Shepherd Old Roman Catholic Church, where they welcome all people. Charles has fought extensively for immigration rights, LGBTQ rights, and especially for the trans community. His heart knows no limit. And we should all aspire to be as open and welcoming, and we would love to invite you up here to speak.
What do you think? Today is an amazing day, March 30th. It's an amazing day where you and I gather. We gather to be visible, to be affirmed, and to be recognized. My dear friends, all that I learned today, I didn't know about Rachel. She is an amazing woman. Rachel offered an opportunity to me to speak today, to be visible, to be affirmed, and to be recognized. From my perspective, as a friend, as an advocate, as an old Roman Catholic priest from Christ the Good Shepherd in Ferndale, Michigan, I want you to know, each and every one of you, one very important truth. One very important truth. You're precious. You're precious in God's eyes, just the way God created you. My friends, let no one, no institution, no institutional church to dissuade you otherwise. Let's be real. It's not easy being one's authentic self. Over the years of my priesthood, Over the years of my career with Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, I have heard, I have seen firsthand the pain felt by gay, lesbian, and transgender people of faith. In conversations, their anguish, feelings of loneliness and abandonment are so viscerally real. Let's be real. Homophobia, transphobia, every ism possible are ever present in the world. Such rejection, discrimination, and disenfranchisement have been amplified, unfortunately, by some institutional churches, by some closed-minded religious leaders, and even now by some feckless elected officials. My friends, today is an opportunity. It's a day of visibility, as so well stated. It's an opportunity not only for you, but it's an opportunity for, guess who? Me. Me as an openly gay, married priest, to be visible, to be affirmed, and to be recognized in the end as golden. I suggest to you today is a memory moment wherein you and I we claim our God-given dignity, which then requires, whether you like it or not, it requires other people to provide respect, compassion, and honor. Sometimes in life, you and I experience these memory moments through which we learn something, and we know that it's going to be passed on and to be never forgotten. My hope and prayer is this: may today's Transgender Day of Visibility, may today become a memory moment wherein the wisdom of elected officials, Lieutenant Governor Garlin Gilchrist II, may the wisdom of third-party advocacy groups like the Lansing Association of Human Rights with Emily, and Transgender Michigan with Rachel, and may people of faith be a memory moment for you, which confirms the immutable truth: you're loved immeasurably by our great God of peace and love, that you're precious, that you're golden in God's eyes. My newfound friends, and I count you as friends, thank you for being a participant in the process of positive change. I implore you to stand firm, fight the good fight, and always know, as long as I live, I will always be there and have your back. There's something that you don't know about me and you're getting ready to know. There's a profound prayer which helped me transition from my active career in corporate affairs with Pfizer to managing my disease called multiple sclerosis. This prayer affirmed me to move forward to this day. It says, and I share with you, life is to give, and life is to live, and talents are to use for good if you choose. Do not pray for easy lives. It is tough outside, my friends. Do not pray for easy lives. Pray to be strong. Do not pray for tasks, the things that you and I have to do, equal to your powers. No, pray for the powers equal to your task. then the doing of your good work will be no miracle, but you and I will be that miracle today, tomorrow, and beyond. Gracias de Dios. God's grace and peace be with you this day. Amen.
Well, Grace asked for political change, and our next speaker is always working toward that end. Char Davenport is an activist, a public educator, and also occasionally a political candidate. Char, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's truly very unpleasant to be here, but thank you. And thank you, Raquelle Crandall-Crocker, for being such a mighty, mighty force and inspiration to all of us. You know, I was looking around at, what everybody's leaving? So I was looking out, and I was, Raquelle Trammell, and Caitlin Diana Laffey, who is seated down here. And it's hard for me to believe that it was almost 5 years ago that we went to Washington, D.C., loaded up a van, went to Washington, D.C. for a few days and lobbied our Congress people there. And it was a life-changing moment for most of us, that's for sure. But it was about visibility in a sense. It was very much about visibility, but it was also about what do we do with that visibility? And so I would like to talk a little bit about that just briefly today, because I do want to move this along. I want to tell you that visibility often comes with a price. And you need to make the decision that if you're going to be visible, are you willing to pay that price? And what is that price? I can't tell you what that price is for everyone, but for some people, it costs them their lives. It costs them their education, their homes, their families, their jobs. And I'm here to tell you about one person, and that's Emme Australia Stevens. Maybe some of you know her, or you need to be reminded who she is. Emme Australia Stevens, for almost 4 decades, worked at a funeral home in the metropolitan Detroit area. And Emme, like a lot of white trans people, came out later in life, like myself. And she's a wonderful woman. I speak to her occasionally on the phone. But here's the thing about Emme that I want to point out. She lives in Redford, Michigan. And when she came out to her boss, the owner of the funeral home, she lost her 4-decade-old career at a funeral home. Her case is now under review at the Supreme Court of the United States. This is an incredibly important case for a lot of reasons, and I will encourage you to look those reasons up. But let me tell you a little bit about what the cost of visibility has been for this amazing woman and her wife. Emme Australia Stevens is suffering from kidney failure now. She's in dialysis. She lost her job. She collects some benefits, but there's a real possibility that they are going to lose their homes. So sometimes, you know, I think about Emme, and I read in the newspapers and I watch the news about Emme Australia Stevens, and I think, wow, way to go, you know, she's out there, she's doing it. You know, it's almost like she's on a stage, but what did it take for her to get there? And what I want to tell you is, it may very well cost her life. So, I want to also tell you about another friend of mine, and that's Caitlin Diana Laffey. I don't think she knew I was going to do this to her, but I'm going to do it anyway because she will kick my ass later. Caitlin Diana Laffey was on that trip to Washington, D.C. with us. She lives here in Lansing, and she's seated right down here in front with her incredibly handsome boyfriend, Aiden. I know, right? So anyway, Caitlin has a case that is before the Michigan Civil Rights Commission, a discrimination case that's being investigated. I don't know if it's the first one. Maybe someone can fill me in on that, but she's right here. These are heroes. These people are visible, and they're sacrificing a good chunk of their life, not just for themselves. They're not doing this just for themselves. They're doing this for their community. And I wanted to share a couple thoughts with you, because sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm scared. I'm unemployed. I've been Teacher of the Year and I'm unemployed, but that doesn't just happen to me. That happens all across this country every day. And so I was on Twitter the other day, because that's where I live, and there was this guy on there who talked about this quote from Mr. Rogers, and it really struck me. And the quote is this: it has to do with hope. Because I am visible, because I have hope. And here's what Mr. Rogers said. He said, hope is the lipstick we put on our fear of life as it is. To truly accept ourselves, we first must become hopeless. Well, I want to tell you, we've been doing these rallies and speaking and reading and trying to get laws changed long before I ever came onto the picture. And I will tell you this, there are times I want to give up. I am allowing myself to become homeless because I will do this shit anyway. Now, Caitlin Diana Laffey shared with me a piece of wisdom from Max Ehrman, who wrote Desiderata. And what Max Ehrman wrote comes at the end. And this struck me. We were on the phone, and Caitlin, if you get a chance to talk to her, has such a beautiful voice. And she said, and this is what Caitlin read to me, therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him or her or them to be. I edited this. Whatever you conceive him or her or them to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. I heard be careful, and strive to be happy. Well, let me tell you what makes me happy. It makes me happy every time I go to a planning commission meeting in Hazel Park, because I serve on that planning commission. I'm visible. I've been there a little bit. Things are working out. Hazel Park is still on the map. I wanted to also say I've run for office twice in Michigan, and I think between both elections, one for lieutenant governor, I gathered, I know, right? For who knew? I gathered, between two elections, I've gathered 30,000 votes. So I started to do a little math. If I were to run for White House or something, I think I have 1,000 more elections to go before I get to 30 million votes. So, no. Thank you very much. And listen, stay warm, be safe. I love you.
Now we have Julia Music from Ferndale Pride. She's got fans out there.
Good afternoon. As Emily said, my name is Julia Music, and I'm the director of the Ferndale Pride Festival. I'm honored that Rachel has chosen me to speak as an ally to the community. When we founded Ferndale Pride in 2011, we had a clear vision to create the most inclusive Pride possible. When I became the director of the Pride Festival, I created an idea that no rainbow flag would hang in our city without a trans flag right side by side with it. We strive to have all Michigan trans organizations represented in the festival as well. But representation alone is not enough as far as being a good ally. A good ally means lending support to individuals throughout their journey. Here are some of the ways we can become the best allies possible. Don't assume pronouns of anyone. Ask people what they go by, and don't just ask those of us who look queer. Understand that they, them is a valid pronoun, and don't hide behind the notion that your grammar is incorrect. As an English teacher, I can tell you that they, them is grammatically correct and respectful. If you make a pronoun mistake, apologize, and then move on. When a trans person comes out to you, believe them and thank them for sharing that piece of their life with you. Fly the trans flag, especially on the Day of Visibility and the Day of Remembrance. Debunk myths about trans people, not just on social media, but in real life when a face-to-face conversation can actually change someone's mind. Say yes when a trans person asks you to take them to the doctors. We have a long way to go to get all medical professionals trained in compassionate medical care. Correct people when they misgender your friends, and then correct them again and again until they get it. Celebrate milestone days like legal name changes, new licenses, and passports. Yes. Remind trans friends how beautiful and loved they are. We can all use that kind of energy. Help a person recovering from surgery. Be a part of creating bars and restaurants that welcome transgender and genderqueer people. Thank businesses that provide gender-inclusive bathrooms. If you own a business, create restrooms that are inclusive. Step in when you witness injustice. Light a candle on Transgender Day of Remembrance. Teach your children about the history of trans people, the struggles of trans people in today's world, and debunk myths that they've heard at school and in the media. Seek to understand your trans friends. Seek to understand, but understand that your trans friends are not your only source of information. There are plenty of trans websites and blogs for us to learn from individuals who have given that information willingly. When asking personal questions, respect a person's right not to answer. Remember that every journey is different. Support our trans friends by helping them on their journeys, but don't try to create their journey for them. Celebrate positive family reactions. Create a family for a person who faces rejection from their legal family, and be that family member who's safe to come out to in your family. Provide hugs when needed, and keep your heart open with loving support. This list is not exhaustive, but it's a good start. Rachel, by creating this day, you make allyship possible. Trans people have more role models than ever in 2019. The brave acts 50 years ago of Martha P. Johnson are not forgotten, and trans people are learning and teaching about the history of their people, which extends back to the beginning of time. This day started with your idea. Let's come out and be proud of who we are. And because of that, people all over the world no longer feel alone. An ever-increasing number of trans people have come out because of this day. Supportive allies will continue to strengthen the community and build a better world. I look forward to seeing all of you on June 1st at Ferndale Pride, but then I also look forward to seeing all of you again in Ferndale on August 10th for Transgender Pride in the Park at Martin Road Park in Ferndale. For those of you who have not been there, it's the largest transgender pride in this region. So I thank you so much, Rachel, for everything you've done for us and for inviting me here today.
Our next speaker is an advocate I have known since I think I started at Equality Michigan a long time ago. Raquelle Trammell, a fierce advocate. Keep her warm with your support.
Hello, my beautiful multi-genius. And I say this with the intention that we carry so many hats, right? We are phenomenal family members, we are great friends, and we're just amazing beings, right? So I know it's cold, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who came today. Thank you. I feel it, and I'm giving it right back to you, okay? So I want to thank you, Raquelle Trammell, for being a pioneer and giving Black trans women an opportunity to show up and be included and showing diversity. As well as I want to thank my ancestors for giving me an opportunity to actually be here today and present myself. I want to start with our youth. So we know that suicide rate is very high when it comes to trans youth here in this country. And I just want to tell each and every youth, it is okay to be you. You are extremely beautiful just the way you are. That voice inside you that tells you you are different than what people tell you or what doctors assign you at birth, adhere to that. That's what makes you uniquely beautiful. The growth is in the journey of finding your authentic self. And often, we have to get away from the ideal of ageism, right? So with that being said, our elders, I want to thank you for your pearls of wisdom and your experiences that nobody can erase, and being a historian for passing on the legacy of our existence. The practices in which I have, for say, my first practice was self-actualization. So coming to the ideal of who people know me to be and who I decided to choose to be for myself. That's visibility. That is showing up for yourself in a way when nobody else believes in this rose, when they don't see thorns, you know they're there, okay? So let's also hold ourselves accountable for getting away from the ideal of racism, showing up in spaces and bending that gap of Black and white trans women coming together, and leaving out our trans brothers in the conversation and our gender non-conforming people. We all have to band together to change this nation for the greater good of trans people around the world. So in closing, I just want to say, be vigilant. Be vigilant in self-care. Love on yourself. Who you are is enough. You are beautiful. You are of value. Do not let nobody deter you from being erased. Your narrative is important. And self-evolving. Let's display humility in a way that takes us to the next level. Let's love on each other far more than we ever find ourselves imaginable. And again, I thank you, each and every one of you who took the time out. And even Mother Nature herself couldn't stop us from being resilient. I love you guys. Bye.
Hello there again. Wow! I'd like to introduce a very wonderful friend of mine, Cara Mitrano. Yay!
Thank you so much to Rachel, like everyone has said, and for all of you to come out to support this 10th anniversary of the International Trans Day of Visibility. Yeah. So when Rachel first asked me to speak, honestly, my first thought was, are you sure that you want me? Because this is the day of visibility for trans folks, and I never want to speak over or for the trans community. And Rachel assured me that, yes, I can provide an important perspective for allies and potential allies. And so I'm really glad to be able to share that with you today. And when thinking about what I wanted to share, I thought of a story from when I was in high school. So in high school, I was very fortunate to be able to be public with my support of the LGBTQ community, that my parents were accepting, and the organizations that I was affiliated with knew that I was involved with that. And I was able to publicly be involved with the founding of a GSA at my high school. And thank you. On one of my lockers at a school I attended part-time, I posted many pro-LGBTQ posters saying things like support love and heart not hate, and even a poster for this very holiday, because I had just found it and I was so excited to share it with my school. Unfortunately, not everyone at the school could tolerate these posters, and they were repeatedly vandalized or destroyed over a period of several months. Sometimes they'd stay up for days, or sometimes just a few hours. After several iterations of this, that putting the posters up, having them torn down, doing it again, I went to school administration and asked what could they do to help support me. And they said they had received complaints about these posters and that I was the one who needed to take them down. After that, they confiscated what was left of the signs and refused to return them. It was at that point that I considered giving up. I had only, like I said, attended that school part-time and thought that maybe it wasn't really worth it to keep fighting for that. However, the folks who were my allies at the time, including the advisor of the GSA at that school and somebody who left an anonymous note of support in my locker, encouraged me to keep going. That reminded me that for all of the people who I see working against LGBTQ rights, there are so many more who are supportive and who might be afraid to show that support, who are still there behind the scenes. Allyship isn't just important when it's big and flashy. Sometimes small acts have a really big impact that you might not even know at the time. I also felt obligated to use my position of privilege as someone who could advocate for the LGBTQ community publicly to do so. Support from my community and anonymous allies like the person who left that note encouraged me to do what was right, and with the right legal support, I was able to eventually get those posters back and continue to display them. So, for those of you who already consider yourselves allies, thank you so much. Your support, whether at the individual level, at your school or workplace, or in public demonstrations like this one, is key to our movement for trans rights. Trans folks are part of a powerful and motivated community, but they still need allies to have their backs. Through our support, we can help create a world where trans people do not have to fear any part of living as their authentic selves. Support from allies leads to passing trans-inclusive legislation, election of trans-friendly government officials, effective boycotts against discriminatory organizations and businesses, and other large-scale measures of change that we can all participate in. When we fight together, we will win. This community, the trans community and the LGBTQ community as a whole, need our support, and it's up to us to be strong and visible as possible in our support of them. So just like the person who left me a supportive note in my locker nearly 4 years ago, who helped me continue my struggle, you can be that ally, that person for somebody who needs you. I promise that you are making a difference for someone, and you've already done something by showing up here today. So for all of you allies and potential allies here today, and anyone watching at home through social media or television, I ask you to reach out to a trans person in your life and tell them that you care, that you see them, and that they matter to you. At your next upcoming election, vote with our trans siblings in mind. And if you're lucky enough to have some extra cash, consider giving it to a trans person or trans-related organization like Transgender Michigan. In closing, I would like to thank Rachel for inviting me to speak at this event and for founding the International Trans Day of Visibility, which has given me the opportunity to address all of you. In high school, I never could have imagined that this holiday that I found on Wikipedia and made a poster for, that I would ever be so involved or have the opportunity to participate in this way. So thank you so much for listening to my story and for being allies to the transgender community. Together, we can create a strong community of LGBTQ folks and allies who create the positive future we need. Thank you.
You did? I would like to introduce Emme Zanotti, who is the representative with Stand With Trans.
Thank you all for being here today. Seriously, it's freezing. So thank you for braving this weather and this rain and this wind. And honestly, for braving the world, because it's pretty cruel sometimes. So, give yourselves all a round of applause for taking up space today and breathing the air you breathe. And how damn cool is it that a fellow Michigander, Raquelle Trammell, founded the International Transgender Day of Visibility. I think that's pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. And I was talking to Raquelle a couple weeks ago about what I was going to talk about today, and I said, you know, Raquelle, why did you found Transgender Day of Visibility? And her comment to me was simple, but so profound, so profound. And I'm going to paraphrase this, but kind of what she said earlier today. She said, all we had was the day of remembrance. So think about that. All we had was the day to remember the horrible acts of violence committed against our community. And we had no day to celebrate our visibility, to celebrate who we are. So I want to talk today about that word, about celebration. And it's not to undermine visibility, because we know that without visibility we will not achieve equality, that the justice system cannot be reformed, that no radical change can be obtained, but celebration is what we should be talking about today. This day is about celebration. To share a quote from one of my favorite musicians, the great Stevie Wonder, life has meaning only in the struggle. Triumph or defeat is in the hands of gods. So let us celebrate the struggle. Let us celebrate the struggle. Let us celebrate getting out of bed today, or any day, or the day after the president of this nation tells us we do not exist. Let us celebrate getting out of bed when he tells us that all of us were not, in fact, created equal. Let us celebrate. Let us celebrate coming out, even if it's to an unaccepting family, because you found a new family, one that loves you more and one that loves you for who you are. Let us celebrate. Let us celebrate our ability to come together day after day, time after time, on days like today, to fight for our brothers and sisters who serve our country, or who wish to serve our country, or who have served our country. And they're fighting, and they want to fight to protect the supposedly unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let us celebrate. Let us please celebrate our trans sisters of color, who the day after having one of their own laid down in the street, get up and fight harder and harder and harder, putting our movement on their shoulders and marching us forward with targets on their back. And no one is giving them a Presidential Medal of Freedom. So we have to celebrate them, and we have to celebrate them while they are alive. That's right. And what I can tell you is I am confident. I believe that one day we will have equality, that we will get there as a people. But unfortunately, I can't promise you that that will be today or it will be tomorrow. But what I can tell you, and I can promise you, is if we celebrate ourselves and we celebrate each other and we lift each other up, that no storm is strong enough and no cloud is dark enough, that no walls, and that's intentional, are thick enough and tall enough, that no one single human, no one man, and you know what man I'm talking about, is powerful enough to restrain us, to keep us down and degrade us. No one is strong enough to kill us or defeat us or block out our bright light. It cannot be done if we stick together. So if we leave here today with nothing else and just this, please let it be this. Recognize and celebrate who you are. Look at the person next to you and celebrate who they are. and recognize and celebrate the achievements we've made as a community. And then tomorrow, we'll wake up and we'll get our butts back to work, because we will get there someday. We will overcome. I love you. We love you. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. I'd like to thank everyone around the world that is celebrating the International Transgender Day of Visibility. It is for us. It is for everyone. And I want to say one more thing. I've heard people say that one person cannot make a difference. That is shit. One person can make a difference, and one person always makes a difference. If you think you can't make a difference, you are wrong. I have a number of disabilities, and I am not fluent, and I created an international movement. Oy vey! And I'd like to thank my wife, Susan Crocker. I'm the dreamer, and she's the one that makes sure everything happens. Susan, I love you so much. Thank you very much, everyone.